So what you have for the
I
open? Are you talking
yeah.
about aggro drift? Is that the one, or is there
Is
another
that
new one?
the baby one?
I don't know. Is there another one? I just know about
Okay.
aggro drift. Is this weird? I don't know. I've heard it's like a shitpost movie, basically.
It's called Baby Invasion.
Okay. So yeah, no, it's not that one.
It is a 2024 American experimental thriller film
Oh my god.
produced through his multimedia company Edgelord, but it's EDGLRD, like a vanity license plate.
Oh, okay.
The film centers on a home invasion, which in the film Korine swapped with a baby faces using artificial intelligence. According to Korine, the film is structured as a first-person shooter game with interactive elements.
Okay.
Um, I have never seen a Harmony Korine movie,
Mm-hmm.
and he's one of those guys that like has always been on the periphery for me. And it's like because like, I know about Kids, I know about Gummo, I know
Mm-hmm.
about Spring Breakers, like I know about some of his movies, and like I mean Gummo just got like released on the Criterion Collection. I mean for
Mm-hmm.
what it's worth, you know that's sort of like you know a little bit of legitimacy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in like the cultural zeitgeist or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, has he just always been a hack and everyone's lying to me?
I don't know. I haven't seen any of his any of those ones that you hear people talk. Well, the older ones. I have seen Spring Breakers. Like that was the first one of his that I saw, and I hated it. It I remember thinking this when I was watching it, that it felt like a troll. And then I saw Beach Bum, and maybe a little less so, but I still didn't really like it. But then yeah, the next one I remember hearing about was that aggro drift, and I kind of heard the same thing, that it's like it feels like it's like purposefully bad. And now looking at this baby invasion one, it's like that. So I wonder if he's just turned this leaf of like I don't know. I guess I can't fully say because I haven't seen those ones. The one that I want to see, that I'm the most interested in, is Kids. Like that seems like the
That's and
uh
he didn't direct it, or
that's true. He didn't direct
he
it.
only he
Larry
only wrote
Clark.
it.
That's true. So yeah, that, and yeah, like Gummo and Julian Donkey Boy. Um, maybe those are like when he was trying, and then I don't know, because I've like watched like interviews with him on Letterman, and he's like high on something different every time. So I don't know. He might just be like an asshole or something. I really don't know. Or he just likes fucking with people.
That's I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because like yeah, I guess less to like I guess talk about him and more so just like of course he would be like the one that is the first person to like make generative AI like a primary feature of his
Mm-hmm.
movie.
Yeah.
And it
And
I
not
don't
try to
know.
like
It
hide it, really. Like make
yeah,
it very obvious. I just kind of have like the like trailer thing like playing on my phone, so I'm not getting a super
it
clear look, but
someone pointed out that you can see the airsoft gun warning labels on the sides of the guns in the trailer, which is just again, is that a shit post or is that you know, just a total you missed it because it's like it's a film
yeah,
production. You'd think that like someone would catch that.
you would think, yeah. Yeah, this is insane. Yeah, it's I wonder if it's like the like what they're wearing and stuff. This cuz I've just seen like clips here and there of aggro drift. It like I feel like they wear, oh yeah, and there's a thing in the sky. This I wonder if like, I mean, that was his movie before this, but I wonder if they're like related somehow. Because like just kind of like the visuals and everything of this, minus the babies, the AI babies.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that. And that it's called Edgelord too. Like, come on. The thing that I don't even know if I want to use the word fascinates, because it's like it's happened so much now that I'm like, it's not like I'm surprised, but I still like wonder about it. And I think that this extends to other branches of followings. That like, I feel like it's like the same thing with Zack Snyder, I guess. Although I do feel like he's still trying. But like how these guys have like garnered fan bases based on like older stuff that people love, you know. Zack Snyder had 300, which was like a huge hit. Watchmen, which was, I think, a pretty big hit. The Dawn of the, like his first few movies were all kind of like, he was doing like banger after banger, at least like box office and like fairly critically. And he still has like people riding him to this day, even when he hasn't made like a good movie in over a decade. And I feel like there's other people like Harmony Korine who like made some movies that I haven't seen that are supposed to be like really good. And I bet that there's people who are watching Baby Invasion and Aggro Drift and are like, oh my God, this is so artistically relevant and this is amazing and all that stuff. Or like, you know, Francis Ford Coppola with Megalopolis could be another example.
It's literally like he made The Godfather. He made Kids. He made Gummo, you know, whatever. It's just like, he's earned it. He deserves to like make all this weird shit.
Or it's like people can't accept that like people go lose their mojo or whatever or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Zack Snyder did the Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Yeah. That was all right.
What a weird.
That was good. Okay.
What a weird filmography that man has.
Yeah. And then he just went full, like, he got Man of Steel, and then he's just like, let me make Watchmen like 5 more times.
Yeah. I would love to see Harmony Korine like get tasked with like a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Just like
that, you know. Yeah. I'd watch that.
Superman's like origin story is like he lives in a trailer park in like Alabama.
Yeah.
And it's just him and his like disabled brother walking around or something.
Yeah.
You know.
And they have
just some real slice of life stuff. Yeah.
They have Kryptonian AIDS.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crades.
There you go.
A Metroid tie-in. Metroid crossover.
Harmony Korines.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it works or not, I don't think.
Yeah. Speaking of things that give you AIDS.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How you doing?
I split up my viewing, which I think was the right call. I watched half of it last night and then I finished it today. And it is a pretty emotionally draining viewing, I would say.
I had to well, okay, all right. Let's do it. Let's do the normal spiel. I just wanted to say the thing. All right.
Oh, welcome. You said the thing. I didn't. You didn't say it right. You didn't.
I didn't do the right inflection. How you doing? Like that.
Oh, that was really good. That was really good.
Thanks. I've been saying it like all day. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to ThereWillBeDuds. This is episode 174, and I'm your co-host TJ, and with me as always,
I am Nick.
And as always, we watched a movie. That movie being Norbit from 2007, directed by Brian Robbins. It is about a guy named Norbit who grew up in an orphanage and married this lady. Both of these characters are played by Eddie Murphy. And when they grow up, it's like a pretty abusive marriage, I guess. And then he meets another girl that he was interested in from his childhood. And they kind of like reignite. But he has to contend with his current wife's rage, jealousy, as well as her brother's. And then it all ends in a weird fight. And then the scary blacks are run out of town by all the white people, and all is good in the end.
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's just scratching the surface of the racism in this. This is like a racism inception movie with like Eddie Murphy playing the
true.
Asian guy.
This is reverse Tropic Thunder.
yeah, because he like plays. It's Eddie Murphy playing an Asian guy making racist jokes about black people.
Because he's doing like the full Asian voice too.
Yeah.
And it did take me a second to clock that it was Eddie Murphy. Like I saw it and I was like,
yeah.
And then I looked closer and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's Eddie Murphy, isn't it? And sure enough, indeed it was.
Can't run from your problems, Norbit. Black people run fast, but problem even faster.
That's kind of racist.
Yes, Wang very racist. I no like black. I no like Jew either. But black and Jew love Chinese food. Go figure.
A lot of these movies exist, and I think there was like a certain time period where this style of movie was, for better or for worse, like very, very popular. Like Eddie Murphy's done it before. Like he did the Nutty Professor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking like Austin Powers, where it was like Mike Myers playing like multiple characters.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe The Master of Disguise a little bit to a lesser extent.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That's more like baked into it, where like these other movies, they're all like separate characters and separate identities.
He was one guy playing. Yeah, true. Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I guess I'm glad that this era of movie making is done, but it is weird. It's like a weird spectacle. It's like a weird like document of a time period of like comedy filmmaking, where like this was like the height of humor. But also, I'm like, who is this? Who is this for? Who's the audience for this movie? Because I do not know if I laughed a single time throughout.
I did.
I mean, laughed in the way that the movie wanted me to laugh. I guess I don't know.
Maybe
like a joke that the movie made.
Right. There was stuff like, I think sometimes I'm just too much of a fan of like slapstick to where like if there's like people being like violently thrown around by any means, I'm like, it's kind of funny. And there's a part like right at the beginning, and maybe it was partly because it made me think of Zodiac, when he's like a baby and he gets thrown out of the car. It made me think of like when the Zodiac has Ione Skye in the car and he's like,
before I kill you, I'm gonna throw your baby out the window.
and I was like, oh, that's him. Because it was like 1968 or whatever. It's like perfect.
Holy shit. The Zodiac was Norbit's dad.
yeah.
I thought of Kung Pao.
With the
beginning of that movie with like the baby and it like rolls down the hill.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There's little bits like that, and man, I don't know what the feeling I was having every time she'd say, "How you doing?" Because like that was the one thing that I knew, like I'd I don't know, clips or like, or maybe when the movie came out, maybe it was in some trailers for it or something. I don't know. But like, I knew that was like a thing, that was like a saying or whatever. And it was like, it's so cringy and it's so annoying. But like every fucking time she said it, I laughed. Like every time. But it's like at the same time I was like, oh my God, that's so like embarrassing. It's such and then when they're like in Mexico at the end,
and she says it in Spanish.
Goes, ¿Cómo está una? Like I was like a laugh. I was like, holy shit. That was mostly it, though. It was like the baby getting thrown out the window, some of the physical comedy, and then how you doing. Or kind of like, I'll show you how bitch go down a slide.
Yeah, constantly just muttering shit like that under her breath. Yeah. I think I laughed. The one laugh that was like genuine out of me was when it was like the wedding scene at the very, very end. And like everyone was kind of like saying their objections or whatever. And I don't remember the full context, but the pastor just says like lesbians.
Oh,
that got a chuckle out of me because it was so silly.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down because I don't know. I mean, this came out first, so I don't know if it could just be a coincidence or they like the joke in this movie, but they use that exact same joke in Scott Pilgrim because they're like, it's Eddie Griffin and he's like I'm talking about the very special word, the L word, and then the priest goes lesbians, and then he's like, no, love, and they do that exact same thing, that exact joke in Scott Pilgrim. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
You got to use the big L.
Lesbians.
No, man, I ain't talking about no lesbians. Oh, no late at night? Yes. Right? Yes. Now, brother, we talking about love.
Step up your game, Scott. Break out the L word.
Lesbian?
The other L word.
Lesbians?
It's love, Scott. I wasn't trying to trick you.
So that was pretty much it in terms of like genuine laughs. The rest of it was mostly just staring blankly at the screen.
That's fair. Yeah, something I kept noting, like watching it, was just how badly made it is. Like everything feels so cheap and stale. Like the directing is so stale and like weird. Like, I don't know, there's certain shots of, like, there's a shot, like, from the steering wheel pointing at Rasputia as she, like, honks the horn with her boobs.
Yeah.
And then, but then everything else is just, like, shot, reverse shot. And then there's, like, oh, yeah, for like, cheapness, there's a part, like, kind of near the end where one of her brothers brings her pizza and she opens it up. And it made me think of the Ungrateful Dead because she opens it up and the pizza is like way smaller than the box. Like how we got like a frozen pizza to put in the pizza box or whatever.
It was like one of those Vitalis boxes, so it was like huge.
Mm-hmm. And then we just put like a regular like frozen pizza in there, and it looked like I was like, that pizza was not made for that box. And then and also how like the city felt like it was a street long. Because it probably was. It was obviously a film set, but it's like they didn't even try to hide that it was like literally just probably like a block. The set's probably like a city block.
There was like a Technicolor look to it, where it almost looked like, it looked like it was something out of the Cat in the Hat.
I kind of thought that it has that like candy coating that certain movies had from this time.
There was an IMDb trivia fact that some of the locations, sets, and scenery were recycled from Garfield the movie 2004.
Okay, interesting.
So
that makes sense, though. You know,
and also apparently some of the sets were from like the Gilmore Girls set. Like I don't know if it was like maybe like the town that movie, that show takes place in.
It looks like small town USA, you know.
Yes.
Like it looks like it could stand it. Like you could have told me any number of movies from that time. I was like, okay, yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably in that. Yeah. Yeah. Then okay, so this movie is pretty interesting. How like I was talking about, you know, cheapness and directing not great and whatever. So that's one angle, but this movie's like bad and annoying in so many different ways. It's really, it's like almost impressive. Like there's like the general like bigotry. There's the, you know, the technical stuff. There's the confusing like character consistency stuff, and then it's like I guess I'm mainly thinking of 3, maybe 4, and 2 of them are played by Eddie Murphy, but it's like the most fucking annoying characters ever. They're so annoying. And it's Rasputia. I mean, I guess I was gonna rope Norbit himself in there. He's not entirely annoying. It's just kind of like, why does he like make him like have the, I don't know. He has some weird character choices with him, but I guess he's mostly like a normal guy. And then he has like a lisp or something. Like it's,
and I think it's to make him, I think it's supposed to make him look like non-threatening and just like someone that you can walk all over, because that's what everyone does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it does play into that. It's just, it's still felt a little, I don't know, unnecessary. But maybe it would have been weird if he was just normal Eddie Murphy. I guess he's, And then the dancing instructor that like sleeps with Rasputia. God, I hated that guy so much.
I'm trying to make Power Cat multinational. I'm trying to be like Billy Blank, but double the money and half the black.
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I will. But first, I got to get that private lesson.
Okay. Call me. I'll call you. I'll be your private dancer.
Yeah, I wonder how much of this was like scripted and how much of this was just sort of improv.
Yeah,
because the director is Brian Robbins, who was like the whitest white guy of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like part of me wonders if, I think that was Damon Wayans who was the dance instructor.
Marlon
Wayans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought at first that was Eddie Murphy too. Like every time there was somebody like heavily makeup, I was like, is that Eddie Murphy doing another part?
Yeah. But I wonder how much of this was just allowing them to sort of improvise over stuff, because I think like Eddie Griffin and Cat Williams, like their characters, those guys felt like they were very much like
just letting them go,
improvisational. Yeah, because like Cat Williams is pretty quick with like, I think that style of humor, that sort of like coming up with like clever stuff very quickly and like speaking it very quickly, like yeah.
No, for sure. There was a scene in particular earlier on where they're just kind of like the action is somewhere else, and then it just like cuts to them and they're kind of standing like, I think they're just observing Rasputia and they're like, oh, she looks like this. It's like they're just almost like they're just doing like like riffing like your mama jokes or something. Like along those lines. Which that was very.
It was
Go ahead.
Oh, just like thinking like at the wedding, something about like, it's like he doesn't need to buy no milk because he got the damn cow. Something like
that was one
shit like that.
Yeah. That was I was just gonna say that was a very popular, like the Judd Apatow comedies would do that too, where it's like, you know how I know you're gay? Because you do this. You know how I know you're gay? Because of this. And
yeah.
It's like, it's really weird to watch now because it's so not funny.
Yeah. I think you have to be an 8th grader to find that stuff funny. And I think once you age out of that, you're like, I know what you're doing and this isn't very funny. But like when you're in 8th grade and like those Judd Apatow movies are out, you're just like, this is the funniest shit of all time, because it's basically a template for you to like do the same thing with your friends.
Yeah.
But it's like you're also like not as clever as those guys. So it's like, you know, it just devolves into, you know how I know you're gay, and then it's just like slurs.
Yeah. That's probably like how old I was when like Superbad came out around there. And that was the first one of those that I watched, and it kind of got me into those. So, yeah, that was the Eddie Griffin and Cat Williams characters. They were all right. They were kind of just playing that like typical like pimp character that those guys played around that time. I liked him as like the supportive like gay best friends or whatever. That was kind of fun. Thought I had another note about them. Oh yeah, there's a weird scene where they're like, it might be at the same one. There's like some event going on in the town square, and they're there, and they like
Kristen Schaal.
Yeah, that one. And they just like see a woman, and they're like, hey, we're gonna pay you now. You're my hoe. And then Kristen Schall's like, I want to be a hoe, and it's like they're wooing women with being their prostitutes or whatever. It's very weird. There's some weird logic in this movie.
Yes, there is. Especially with Rasputia, who I think is maybe the worst character I've ever seen in a film ever. One of the most annoying, like, ugh. Like I'm tired right now, and so like I feel drained trying to even think of anything clever or interesting to say about this movie. Yeah, that's I don't know why like it was such a trend at that time to like do like morbidly obese like fat suit comedy.
Yeah.
Shallow Hal was another one.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one. Is there a fat suit involved in that one?
Yeah, that's like the whole thing. Like Gwyneth Paltrow is like morbidly obese, but he sees her as like skinny Gwyneth Paltrow or whatever. There's not as much like comedy about her being obese, because I feel like most of the time you just see the viewer also just see her as like normal Gwyneth Paltrow. But I think there's some bits with it.
Okay. It's just weird. It's
Fat Bastard,
I don't know.
Austin Powers.
Yes, exactly. Constantly talking about eating and just like playing with his fat rolls and shit.
Yeah. Which that's where like with her character it was kind of weird, because like when it is just voiceover. You don't get as much like them actually talking, obviously. But like when they're kids, it seemed like she was like nice to him, like she actually liked him, and because she was like protecting him against the other kids like picking on him or whatever, and she still seemed like a little bossy, but it didn't like when they're adults, it's like there's nothing. She's just completely like an abusive like manipulator. There's like no love, but it seemed like they kind of and I just wondered where the change happened. And it's like the movie doesn't need to the movie feels like we don't need to justify why she's mean now, because she's fat and ugly. And we're going to show
that's all
everybody reacting to how fat and how ugly she is. And she's mean. Is it because of that? I don't know, maybe. But she's fat and ugly, so who
maybe
cares?
That's the subtext of this movie.
Yeah.
Hurt people, you know?
Yeah. And she was just played by a regular, like, girl when they were a kid. And I was like, well,
yeah.
So is she supposed to be, like, hideously ugly, too? That's kind of mean.
Yeah, it didn't really lend very much to the comedy of it. Like, is it just supposed to be funny because it's the fact that it's it's like a man in a woman fat suit, it's like, oh, it's Eddie Murphy and he's pretending to be a fat lady.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just wanted people to think that the concept was funny, so they didn't like actually do anything funny else with it other than giving her that catchphrase and I guess like flinging her around a bit.
Yeah. Well, that's
like the kids jumping in the which based on what you said earlier was probably very funny. Just it kind of was like the kids funny. Just like however they do that in movies where like the kids are probably like harnessed up and they just like pull them out and it just looks like they just get blown away.
Yeah. That's kind of like stuff that I mean.
That shit would be funny, but then it's like you got Rasputia just like little bitches. I'm gonna the whole. She's just like just mouthing off.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
but
kind of like nonstop. She's like the girl in It Doesn't Get Any Better Than This, which makes me like really want to like see that movie with Eddie Murphy playing all three of those characters now. And the girl
just talking about like, there you go.
I ain't going no hellmouth.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep. They're doing like the seance and like the shit starts rumbling.
She can't stop talking, so she like ruins it.
Yeah, no.
What the hell's that racket going on out there?
Everything would start rumbling, and then the camera would like pan over, and it's her just like falling down the stairs or something.
Yeah.
Or she's just like shoveling food in her mouth because that's it.
Yeah. No, that's the thing with like a lot of comedy. I don't even want to say like at this time because I mean, it's not like this movie invented, making fun of certain groups of people. But it's the same thing with like Mr. Chinese man. I can't think of his name. It's like most of the time he's talking, it's just like implied that it's the comedy is that he's doing a funny Asian voice. Where like they'll just be talking about normal stuff, but no, he's not pronouncing all the words normally, and like that's the humor. It's the same thing with that. It's like she's fat and she's ugly, and that's the joke.
Yes. So you don't actually have to like write anything clever or funny. His name is Hang Ten, by the way.
Hang Ten? Wow.
Hang Ten Wong.
Oh, it's Wong. Okay. I was like, am I just doing that because I'm racist, thinking that his name is Wong? But
I'm really surprised there weren't other Asian characters that were like playing into like do you remember that news story where it was like a plane crash and someone was pranking the news anchors about like the name of the pilot, and the pilot's name was like Sum Ting Wong.
Oh.
And like the news anchor was like playing it completely straight, like they didn't realize it was like spoof names. I'm surprised there wasn't like more characters like that. I mean, I guess Ling Ling is like kind of stereotypical, or like
they're just
it sounds vaguely Asian and funny because haha, it's a different name and it's like rhyming.
Yeah, and it has L's in it, so he can say the name wrong too.
That's also that.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was one with like her being related to the fat stuff. There was like a running gag that they kept returning to that I was like, man, they're really committing to this. And it's the seat positioning in the car. Because she's like, why are you messing with my settings? And he's like, well, I didn't. It's back as far as it can go. And then she like breaks it backwards so she can scoot backwards. Which that was like almost like okay, all right, that's something. And then she turns and says, how you doing, of course. And then like later she like crashes into another car or something like that. Maybe she just slams on the brake and then it like slides all the way forward. Like
yes.
They just kept like going back to it. And I was like, that's something other than just she's fat. you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
really
it's like her colossal tits are the
airbags.
airbags.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think, isn't that established too? Like she's getting in the car and it's like constantly honking because her body just keeps pressing against the car horn.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, the comedy just keeps writing itself here.
Yeah.
Little piece of IMDb trivia that is kind of sad or is like very sort of problematic, but is it Thandie or Tandy Newton? How do I say that?
I think it's Tandy.
Tandy Newton apparently followed a strict diet during the filming because they wanted to make her, in contrast to Rasputia, like extremely skinny.
Oh.
And like I think I read that before I watched the movie, and like the first scene that you see with her, like she looks skeletal.
Yikes.
And it's like, hey, I don't think you really needed to do that.
Yeah.
Like I think
do the
people
machinist diet for Norbit.
Yeah. She's going full method for this.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's like I think we get the contrast. I think we understand that. It's
also,
like
is that important? Like,
yeah, were they worried that like audience goers were gonna be like, what's the difference between these two characters?
Yeah.
I can't tell.
Yeah. Like if she has any fat on her body, she's just as evil as Rasputia.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I realized a piece of trivia for our show in particular that this is the second Dud Cup movie that got an Oscar nomination for Best Makeup. Do you know what the other one was?
Let me think. Dud movies for Best Makeup. How recent was it?
The movie or the episode?
The episode.
One of very early, very very early.
Very early Dud that would have gotten a makeup nomination. Tiptoes?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Then what was it?
Suicide Squad.
What? For what? For what in that movie?
Joker, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc.
Maybe.
I think Killer Croc was the big one because like he was all like practical makeup, I guess. So
okay. Well, I guess
looks good. You know.
Yeah.
This one felt a little less deserved. That one, I'm like, okay, Killer Croc, he looks pretty good. All right, sure.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like Mr. Wong looks weird. Like he doesn't.
Yeah.
He looks like Eddie Murphy playing an Asian guy. Not that well obscured or whatever.
The Rasputia, like I don't know. Sometimes I wondered if they did swap out like a body double for some of the scenes.
They did, yeah.
because it's hard. Like you can put him in a fat suit, like you can do prosthetic makeup around like his head to give him like, you know, jowls or whatever. But I feel like doing anything physical with like body makeup or whatever seems like you're gonna like tear that shit like easily. Especially like the scenes where they're at like the water park.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, did they get like a morbidly obese woman to like be a body double for Rasputia? Like
I think so.
It must have been.
Because there's a couple bits in particular like where she like gets into she takes a bath and she like gets in and like all the water comes out where like you never see her face. It like literally like it cuts off like around like her torso and then she gets in the tub and you still like never see her face. And she's just like, it's really weird because she's just like rigidly, like she sits down and she's just like staring straight ahead as it the scene like sits there for like another 10 seconds as she's like, oh, what's going on out there? She just keeps like talking and just like staring straight ahead. And I was like, that's a body double for sure. And then also probably
it's so good. It keeps taking me out of it. Like,
just close your eyes and I'll take you back.
just let it wash over me.
But also, I guess practically for, you know, it probably makes it easier to have a body double when Eddie Murphy is playing both characters. You know, they can just have the other person play her, like fill in for that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I guess that stuff is always sort of impressive to me from like a filmmaking standpoint, like doing these like bigger scenes with like multiple actors like playing like 3 different parts, like the sort of like the you know, I've only done it a little bit with like Adobe After Effects where it's like you film it on like a tripod and then you kind of cut around each scene, and that's like stationary camera shit. Like this movie, it's like it's more active, like the camera's moving around, so like that I mean, from like a, I guess, technical standpoint, it's impressive. It's unfortunate that they used it on this, but you know.
Yeah, now if they do that in movies, it's probably just going to be like deep fake, like AI deep fake, like face swap type stuff.
Yeah, just find someone with a similar build and then just like put the face on them.
Yeah.
Now we can just use like the little like those little ball suits and just like fully motion capture you.
Yeah, right, yeah. Man, I forgot about that. I kind of I did at like a half breakup too. Not intentionally. I wanted to try to watch it in one go, but so I watched it both today, but anyway, so there's some stuff I forgot that like I noted. I completely forgot about this line. Cuz there's like one scene. It's almost like The Room where it's like there's one scene and she says I'm pregnant. Although this one is just intentionally just to manipulate him. And then like the next scene, he's like, "Oh, you can't drink wine. What about what about your child?" And she's like, and she rips ass and she goes, "There's your child." And
see, when you do it, it's hilarious to me. I don't know.
There's your child. Now go get me something to drink.
At the end, after like the wedding is like all broken up and they're like fighting in the streets, I was really hoping that for like a second when Wong harpoons her, the tone of the movie just takes a complete 180.
She just died. I thought for a second maybe.
I was like, dude, that's like a harpoon is not something you mess around with. And of course the joke is it lands in her big fat ass because of course it does. But it's like, damn, what if he just like, and it just like, it suddenly becomes like super practical and there's just like her like a blood spray everywhere and everyone's like, holy shit, Wong just killed Rasputia.
Like, well, man, I didn't think about that part, but I was thinking like the way that they set that up, it was very like Anchorman. Like, you know, there's like the big like battle royale at the end of Anchorman.
Yeah.
And then Steve Carell, he like pulls that trident out of nowhere and he throws it, and then he like kills somebody, and they have the bit later on in the movie where they're like, Rick killed a guy. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, that's what they were doing. He shows up with a harpoon and he, you know, spears her and kills her.
Because it sort of sets it up earlier on, because like you see young Norbit at the orphanage, and they're behind a giant like wood cut out of a whale, and Wong hucks the harpoon through, and it basically, like the way that they frame it is that like it goes through the back of the standout, and like the kids are like right there, so it's like, oh, if he was just one spot over, it would have like killed him.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, like they're kind of calling back to that. But yeah, man, I would have loved to have seen it just like become super like graphically violent, like at the last like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that'd have been sick. Speaking of killings, I was thinking, is this movie a double career killer for Eddie Murphy and Cuba Gooding Jr.? Not total like they both have like been, Eddie Murphy especially has kind of had like somewhat of a resurgence lately. But these were guys like, just like, another SNL alum, Mike Myers with Cat in the Hat. Like they were like near like top of the game around this time, and then this movie came out, and then I mean maybe not this, maybe a better thing for Eddie Murphy was like this was like the start of the downfall, because after this was like Meet Dave, which is also supposed to be terrible, and then
Directed by the same guy.
Yep, that's why I'm looking at his filmography. This guy also did 1,000 Words, which is another one that's supposed to be terrible with Eddie Murphy. So this was like he did this one, and then I think people were like, okay, that was really bad, but it's Eddie Murphy, the next one will be good, and then like it just kind of kept going, and then I feel like you just didn't really see him in anything until that the blaxploitation movie that came out a few years ago.
Dolomite.
Yeah, the Dolomite Is My Name. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Was that was almost
Jesus
like his
Christ. Also
what?
Also in Shrek with Mike Myers. Think of that. 2 leads of Shrek.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely, like, because you look at like Eddie Murphy's filmography like as a whole, and it's like, Beverly Hills Cop, iconic role.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like he kind of got into like the children's movies.
Mm-hmm.
He did some voiceovers. Like I think Shrek was like a big thing. Like his
Mm-hmm.
character of like Donkey, that's like iconic. Everyone knows that. But yeah, I forgot he was in Mulan. Wasn't he like
He's
the dragon in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Doesn't do an Asian voice there, thank God.
Yeah, I think Disney would probably have a pretty tight leash on that. It's like, no,
Maybe.
you gotta wonder. Yeah,
that's like a top. Yeah, I think that was a good choice, but I would not put it past them to have been like, yeah, do it.
You're Eddie Murphy. You were on SNL. Like, you can do whatever you want.
I mean, it was a few decades before, but there's stuff like Peter Pan was like the Indians, or the Crows in
was that in Dumbo?
Yeah, I think Dumbo. I feel like there's some more recent racist Disney stuff too, but I can't think of anything. But yeah, but yeah, like I said, like it's not like they both, like neither of them, were in, like, didn't see them in anything after this, but it felt like this was kind of like a beginning of the end of the first part of their careers. I don't know.
yeah, or at least like it kind of killed all of the goodwill that they had garnered.
Yeah,
like again through Eddie Murphy's, like, say what you will about Eddie Murphy Raw now, where I feel like if you watch it now, you're like, oh, like none of this has aged very well. But it's like, again, SNL, stand-up comedy, Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America, like these movies were like huge at their time. And they're like, these, I don't know, I haven't seen like Beverly Hills Cop. Is it like a comedy drama, mostly comedy, mostly drama? I don't know how you would classify it. But it's like, he had like bona fides. He was like an established guy, and then for whatever reason, I don't know, you could almost say starting with like The Nutty Professor, maybe, which, like, again, I haven't seen this since I was like a child. But like he starts getting into like the, like, I'm gonna play all of the different characters and they're all gonna be like in fat suits, and it's just like, were you ever funny? Like, it's like Eddie Murphy is like undoubtedly very funny, but like you start to question like their judgment and their same with like Mike Myers and
I
like
was
Cat
gonna
in the
say
Hat. You're like
another parallel, yeah, because he did that in like you were making that point before that like Austin Powers, he plays multiple characters, and then they're like, let's just keep doing that, but then that doesn't work all the time, you know. It works for, you know, though it works well enough in Austin Powers. It works well enough in The Nutty Professor. I also haven't seen these. I don't know if they hold up, but they were successful. They were popular at the time, right? They were liked. But yeah, you can't just. It's like the thing that happens with a lot of like studio movies, where it's like you're taking the wrong lessons from like a movie's success. It's like, sure, it's like it's impressive and, you know, neat, I guess, to see them like play all these characters in a scene, but it's like, but they still have to be like, it still has to be like enjoyable to watch. And you know, like any of the like the clumps in The Nutty Professor, they're not like in the movie as much as Rasputia is, and also they're not as annoying as Rasputia is. So it's like you know, you're not just with that for an hour and a half.
It's like it's a fun novelty bit where it's like, okay, every once in a while we'll come back to these characters, and each one has like kind of their own distinct personality and maybe like a little catchphrase or some sort of idiosyncrasy. But it's like it's doled out in like these small segments. Where with Norbit, it's just like we get so much Rasputia that it's like a thing that already wasn't that funny to begin with is just they just kick that can down the road.
Yeah, the
whole movie to the point where it's like it becomes extremely aggravating, and like I'm ready for this movie to be done. I don't want to be in this world anymore. Both in the world of Norbit and in this world.
I could see a spin-off TV show. I could watch a TV spin-off show of Rasputia and her brothers in Mexico, you know.
In La Nippolopolis. Hey, maybe that's where Francis Ford Coppola got the idea.
Yeah.
So, the scene where Adam Driver tells what's her face to go to the club.
Oh,
you gotta add it. You gotta add in a few like, how you doing into Megalopolis.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that clip float around a lot. And then the John Voight saying, "What do you think of my boner?"
I never want to know the context for that. I only want to know that scene out of context because it's so great.
Yeah.
What do you think of this boner?
Oh yeah, what do you think of this boner I got? That's what he says. Yeah.
Damn, I've come fully around. Give these auteurs more money to make more movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Brian Robbins, the director, I don't know if you looked at his Wikipedia at all. He's not directing anymore. That's because he's the CEO of Paramount Global.
Wow.
So it's like he stopped directing movies in 1,000 Words was his last movie.
Wow.
And then now he's like the CEO of Paramount.
He was this has nothing to do with anything other than just like the date immediately triggers my brain. He was born on the day that JFK was assassinated. Well, that's something.
Rest in peace, JFK. Welcome back, JFK.
This is what we get in. Yeah, he was reincarnated, and this is what JFK really wanted to do was make Norbit. And Good Burger. I mean, he made Good Burger, so that's pretty cool. That's up there with like, you know,
Good Burger's iconic. Yeah, Good Burger's.
It's like his biggest achievements is like Good Burger, and then, you know, like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
We make fun of fat ladies not because it is easy, but because it is hard. God, the Shaggy Dog. He did that.
Dog,
What is it with this guy and like these like sort of weird like science fiction, not like high concept, like prosthetic movies or whatever? I don't know. I haven't seen the Shaggy Dog in a long time, but God,
I think it's
the cover of that movie is uncanny.
With like the human eyes. Yeah.
It's Tim Allen's eyes superimposed on the dog.
Yeah, that's awful. He did do a movie that I used to watch a lot when I was younger that might suck, but I liked it. Ready to Rumble. She did it's like a WWE movie. There's like a lot of like actual wrestlers who are like in the movie and like play parts and stuff. That could play into why I enjoyed it, but I don't know. That one also doesn't have a very great rating. So it might suck if I revisited it, but yeah, I was kind of thinking like, I don't know, I'm very like, I've become like more and more anti SNL, and just how I think it's like one of the least funny things in existence now. And even when like I watch older clips, I'm like, or like older skits, I'm like, really the only ones that I will still like get a laugh out of are ones like Debbie Downer, where it's funny because everybody is breaking, like everybody's laughing, like for real. And those are the good ones because I love bloopers. I love people just like laughing and, you know, laughing at the stuff. But it's like, but the jokes are never that funny. Like all the classic ones, I'm just like, eh. And then, man, when you see the ones where they like popular characters that they would like bring back, it's just, they just do the same fucking jokes every time. So my theory is like, I think that there's like, you had these up and coming like popular comedians like Eddie Murphy in the 80s with his stand-up specials, and then I'm not sure exactly when his stint on SNL was, but it's like it made him less funny. It sapped all the funny out of him. And then spits him out into Nutty Professor and Daddy Daycare and Pluto Nash. And
I do think you're onto something with that, because like we watched the they did like the 50th anniversary, like we watched the special that they did like a few weeks ago, and they were like, there were some good moments, but again, a lot of it is just doing like the same jokes and obviously like for the 50th anniversary they're going to do a lot of callbacks. Like they immediately did like Robert Goulet with like Will Ferrell. He didn't say the N-word this time, but
oh yeah,
but
that's funny. All the times that they like that people accidentally have said the N-word on that show too. That's
Chevy Chase.
Yeah. That probably wasn't accidental.
Yeah, I think he's saying it's Richard Pryor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But Chloe and I were talking about like the SNL sort of like machine, and I will say that like at a certain point in time though, SNL was like a star maker.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, it was like you got David Spade and Chris Farley. You got like, what is it, Tommy Boy? You got what was that? Was
Black
it like
Sheep
Black Sheep?
was another one? Yeah.
Yeah. Adam Sandler came from SNL. You got like Happy Gilmore,
really
with
the
Rob
90s,
Schneider.
Yeah.
Superstar,
Mike
like
Myers,
the Mary
Eddie
Catherine
Murphy. Yeah, with
Mike
Molly
Myers,
Shannon,
Eddie Murphy.
Shannon.
Yeah. And like it doesn't feel like SNL has that anymore. I don't know.
Really.
Like, what's the last like movie?
Pete Davidson,
spin-off?
kind of. I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff since, but it doesn't feel like it's like, I don't know if he ever really plays like lead roles as like all those ones. Like, I don't know how to like explain it exactly, but it's like Tommy Boy's like, it's these guys and they're not playing characters from SNL, but look, it's the guys from SNL. I feel like when Pete Davidson just does stuff, he's just like, because he just wants to act and stuff, you know, like he's in like Suicide Squad, it's just like the bit role and like bodies.
And it's
bodies,
almost like
bodies
people don't even know Pete Davidson like from SNL anymore. Like they do, but it's just like he's the guy who like pulls like hotter than average women, like celebrities, and he's just like, you know, wearing like Deadpool PJs and like a hoodie, and you're like, this is the guy that's like dating Kim Kardashian after her and Kanye West break up or whatever. But I do think there is something to that, like working on SNL and it just like completely draining. Like I feel like it like changes the way that you think about comedy and like sketches. Holy shit! I think you just broke this thing like wide open because I think the idea of Norbit and like Rasputia is Rasputia's an SNL character.
100%. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You're right.
100%.
Like the catchphrase and everything.
Catchphrase, yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, you could, there would just be multiple Rasputia, Norbit, I don't know.
They'd have the Rasputia family
like every once in a
reunion
while.
where everybody, there's all these different people from the cast playing, like, oh, I'm Rasputia's cousin, and they act just like her, or they sound just like her, or whatever. And I'm Rasputia's great grandma, and it's Bill Hader doing
scrambled Eddie Murphy's brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is like the only way he can think about comedy now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my
Broke
God.
Mike Myers, like, yeah. Not everybody, you know. Adam Sandler's had a interesting career since, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know, but has he been in any like great comedies since, you know, like maybe the 90s? That's again, I'm like, I haven't seen Happy Gilmore since I was a kid. Like, is that actually good? I don't know. Maybe. I think that one's all right. Probably.
Yeah.
But then, like, you know, quickly he started being in like, you know, he was in a lot of shit too. But then it's like he'll do some like random drama and it's like,
just like
he's a really good actor.
Yeah. He transitioned from like, I don't even want to use the word grounded, but like comedy films that were like not just him and his friends on vacation somewhere. They felt like and then I'm trying to think of like who's even on the cat. Like I don't even like watch the show anymore. So every time I see like, because I've seen clips on YouTube from like the 50th anniversary or whatever. Yeah.
Like the current cast, I'm like, who the fuck are these people? And I know a lot of the times like they do bring on like unknowns, and like that's kind of, you know, like Andy Samberg. He's a recent one who's like, he would maybe be him. Yeah, I would say like maybe that like 2000s there was still some like big stars because there's like Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader. I think the cutoff
is like 2010.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, like Will Ferrell, Will Forte, Jason Sudeikis, Chris Parnell, Bill Hader, Fred Armisen.
Mm-hmm.
They all had like very like successful post SNL careers, and like this current cast, you're like, none of them have like the sort of like star power, like because I think like a lot of like the SNL sketches now are just, I like how this conversation has spun completely away from Norbit and onto like
SNL conspiracies.
It has made us like completely reconsider like the nature of comedy itself.
Which, I mean, hey, that's not a lot of movies get you thinking this much about its high concepts. And Norbit's pretty.
I mean, speaking of Mike Myers was just on SNL as Elon Musk.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
I watched the episode that Shane hosted, and he was in a good number of sketches.
Oh,
and,
okay.
There were a few of his that were kind of funny. One of them that like his team wrote was called. It was like a fake ad for like a medical product, and the medical product was just called "Couple of Beers."
Oh, okay.
So it's just like, are you feeling down at work? Are you feeling depressed? Well, try a couple of beers. And
okay, I get.
It kind of harken back to those like classic SNL like
the digital shorts.
Yeah. But I think SNL now kind of faces the same problem that South Park does, where like South Park used to be like a show about like the four kids getting up to like
mischief,
outlandish, wild, crazy shit. And now the show has become completely like reactionary to whatever is going on in culture. And I think SNL has quickly become like a show that does that now. Yeah. Well, like, I mean, they've always done like political sketches, but every sketch feels like a sort of like commentary on the world we live in currently. Like there's no there's no like weird out there shit like I don't like the Coneheads maybe or like something strange. It all seems to be tied, and I think that's why nothing really has any like staying power.
Yeah.
The only cast member I could see having like a decent post SNL career is Sarah Sherman.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
and I only know who she is because like she hangs out with like the weird like Connor O'Malley types.
Oh, okay.
Like she does like a lot of like body horror, gross out humor. Like she dresses like a clown and she has like prosthetic heads with like their eyeballs sticking out, like gross out shit. So it's like she kind of has her own brand outside of SNL, but all the other ones, all the other cast members. It seems like it's like, oh yeah, my uncle was a writer here in the 80s, so
yeah,
I'm a cast member now.
Yeah, like I don't know if they're still on it, but like the Please Don't Destroy guys, they're like Temu brand Lonely Island. Like they got some stuff that's like kind of funny, but it's
very one note. And again, like the genius of the Lonely Island is like they would bring like Michael Bolton out to sing about how awesome Jack Sparrow is. Yeah. And that's such a weirdly specific thing that again, I don't know, they don't do it like that anymore.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely, I'm glad that they kept their humor afterwards, because like, you know, Pop Star's awesome, Hot Rod's great. What's that one? Palm Springs, that was really good too. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh yeah. That was a COVID watch.
Yeah, I think for me too. Yeah, they're also, I don't think it's like Lonely Island. Maybe, I don't know if it's like a Lonely Island production, but one of them, I think Akiva Schaffer is directing a reboot. They're doing like a reboot remake of the Naked Gun. Which I first heard that there was I was like, oh, Naked Gun reboot. That sounds awful. I never want to watch that. I love the Naked Gun movies. And then I saw directed by Akiva Schaffer and I was like, okay. And then I saw Liam Neeson is playing Frank Drebin Jr. and I was like, okay. So now I'm fucking in. I hope. I'll see what it looks like when a trailer drops. But I'm like Liam Neeson as he's supposed to be Leslie Nielsen's son. I'm like, that is perfect. That's that's like such good casting for that.
The only thing I've never seen a Naked Gun movie, but I have seen the clip where Leslie Nielsen's got a gun and he's like in a shootout, and then he keeps seeing pennies on the ground.
Oh yeah,
and as he just keeps bending down and like, ooh, we're putting him in his pocket.
I thought you were gonna say the part where where like O.J. Simpson is in the wheelchair, and have you seen that clip? They're like at a. Oh
no, but I knew that OJ's
obviously, but yeah, he's in the.
Yeah.
I think he's just in the first movie because. No, I feel like all three of those movies came out before all the stuff went down. So I don't know. Maybe he is in like the second one at least. But yeah, there's just like a part where he's like in a wheelchair and he like accidentally like pushes him down the steps and you just see his body like It's good. It's that good like body slingshot comedy that I like. Yeah, no, they're great. That like I don't know like how to categorize it, but it's just like everything is hyper literal. And Leslie Nielsen's just like, he's so fucking funny in those movies. But it's because he's so serious and dramatic, and that's why I think that Leslie Nielsen is like a great pick.
Yeah, he's great in the Creep Show. The one,
yeah,
like where he's like burying his head above the sand or whatever, and then drowns them.
Yeah,
but he plays a very like sort of like sadistic, but he's still like laughing and like jovial the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably get to wrap up, but one last thing I wanted to say about SNL just because we were like talking about like current people and them being drained of their humor or whatever. I feel like Kenan Thompson is probably got Get Outed like a decade ago. Because I don't know if he might have the record for like longest stint on SNL. Because it's like he's
22 years.
22 years. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
It's like half his life, probably, if not more. No, I don't know how old he is.
He's never not been on like a sketch show.
Yeah.
I think because like he was one of the OG cast members of All That.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's what I was.
Keenan and Kel, Good Burger. He was like
directed by Brian Robbins.
Yes, true, true. Yeah, I started watching like the like SNL documentary, and like the first episode is about like the audition tape, and man, there are so many like great funny people that they did not put on that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Donald Glover auditioned. Jim Carrey auditioned. Like there were like a handful of people that were like just didn't get put on. Jennifer Coolidge, who like I don't know,
I could see her working on that show.
Unique.
Yeah. It's good. I don't know. I mean, like, thank God that they weren't, I guess.
Yeah.
Tim Robinson was on it for like a season, and then they were like, "No, we don't like to get out of here." And then he made a show that's like. Well, 2 shows, because like Detroiters is great too, and it's like that's like a million times funnier. Like I think You Should Leave is like, I guess, ideal version of SNL because it's a good sketch show.
And it's like obviously yes, it does. You know, it's not on network television, so they can like say and do like wild
say
shit
whatever the
like,
hell we want. That's a quote from the show.
But yeah, I don't know if it's like true or like what went down. But apparently like there were a lot of things that Tim Robinson pitched to SNL.
That's what I've heard.
Like a lot of the I Think You Should Leave sketches are just like some of his rejected SNL ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh yeah, it's because he tried to do something like not palatable to like maybe every member of the audience or like the crowd that stays up late to watch SNL.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the maybe Gen Xers or Boomers who were still watching it. I don't know who watches it anymore. But
yeah, I think it's like probably Gen X-y. There might still be people like our age that still watch it, but I don't know. I don't think there's like teenagers and like younger kids still watching it. Can't imagine.
No. You can watch it on like TikTok. There's like people doing sketch comedy, doing weird shit on TikTok. You don't need SNL.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a good way.
Norbit.
That's a good bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, we probably covered everything. I don't know. I literally I don't even know where we where we left off. But.
I can go first.
Okay.
Spud. No, not Spud. Dud. Sorry, Dud. I forgot the scale for a second. No, Dud. 100% Dud. This is like a you go to the grocery store and you buy some potatoes and you put your groceries in the back of your car and one of those potatoes falls out of the bag and it goes under one of the seats and you don't know that it's there for a long time and then suddenly your car stinks like shit for like 2 weeks and you're like, God damn, why does my car stink like shit? And then you climb into the back seat and you look for the cause of the stink and it's the potato and this potato is Norbit. Oh, it's the potato that like she burns. I was going to say acid.
That if you didn't. Yeah.
Pretty irredeemable movie. Pretty it's like firing on all cylinders on like the bigotry, the racism, the fat phobia, like basically I don't know, every type of like offensive style of humor exists in this movie in some capacity, and I think I could excuse it a little bit if it was actually funny, but none of it is really.
Yeah.
Like Austin Powers did Fat Bastard. That was kind of funny. Like Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr. like was doing like blackface, but it was like it had a greater point or whatever.
Well, and it's like the point is that the character's an idiot. It's like, yeah, it's
he's a delusional method actor.
Yeah, the humor it's where the humor is derived from. It's like is a better place, I guess.
Yeah, and then this movie is just like, isn't it funny that there are certain letters that Asian people can't pronounce in English? That's it.
Yeah.
Cat Williams is kind of funny, I guess. But I think Cat Williams is just a funny person.
He is. Yeah.
He has like a certain cadence where like no matter what he says, I'd probably be like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. He's a yeah, just kind of like a likable character, actor, guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go with Dud too. There's part of me that's like, oh, is it? But I think it's just like my weird, I don't even want to say Stockholm syndrome with Rasputia that was, or like the stuff that was like kind of making me laugh. I think it was more like my like laughing. It was more like in like the Dunes video where we were like lost, and then there's that part where you just like lose your mind. You start like laughing really. I think that was me. Like I wasn't laughing that hard every time, but like that was me with Rasputia's like some of her one-liners and stuff and her catchphrases. But yeah, I mean, I think because it's weird. It's like, well, you know, Spud movies aren't actually good. They're ironically enjoyable or whatever. I'm like, I don't even know if I can really say that. It's weird. It's a weird spot, but I think ultimately, yeah, it's still a dud. Yeah, all the stuff you said, and then just again how it like just feels and looks so cheap on top of that.
Yeah.
Like the poster, like I have the poster up like on the, you know, the display thing for the episode, and it's just like the two characters. Oh, it's so like they didn't even try. It's just the two characters, and it has that basic ass like candy. I don't know what you call it. That the font, the title font for the movie. It's just like the big like bold letters that you'd see for just like every just like I don't know. There's a particular look to that. A particular style.
Are you talking about like the sort of like 3D lettering ish?
Yeah,
like the red.
Yeah, the red. Yeah, the poster I'm looking at in particular is where she's like laying on top of him, and they're just like in a white void.
Yeah. Is it the one that says hysterically funny underneath?
No, I don't think so.
Are you talking about the one where like they're laying on the title Norbit?
Yeah.
Oh,
that kind of title look. I'm pretty sure that's how like the Meet Dave one looks, you know, Daddy Daycare. Like I was looking through his like Eddie Murphy's like acting filmography, and like half of the posters had that same like font.
Yeah. Because like the other one, there's another poster that like it says Norbit like above them, and it's in like the Epic Movie font.
Oh,
like it's like a slightly like 3D, but it's like the same typeface.
Yeah, probably kind of like the yeah, that too. Yeah, I mean it's the same font overall, I think. Where it's just it's probably like sans serif bold or something. I don't know. It's basic and dumb. Which is what this movie is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson's favorite movie of 2007 from the Beach Boys. That's like awesome. That was like on IMDb and Wikipedia, so like he must have like brought it up during an interview. Just like in one of his few moments of lucidity lately, Brian Wilson saw Norbit and he was like, this is awesome.
That's pretty sick. Okay, then I guess I've got around to watching the newest Paddington, Paddington in Peru. That's one of mine and my wife's like foundational things to our relationship because it was like our first date. We saw the first one, and then so we've just seen all of them in theaters. It was just kind of like a thing. Like we watched early on, we were like, "Oh man, that was really good," and then we saw the second one when that one came out, and that's the second one is like leaps and bounds like my favorite one. Like it's I would probably put it in like, you know, one of my favorite movies, like just period, like somewhere. This one, the newest one is not that, but I wasn't really expecting that. It is a different director. I think it is the same writers though. And it's like, it's got a lot of the same cuteness and charm and that stuff, but it's just, it kind of felt, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like you haven't seen any of them, but there's like in particular, there's a moment in this that I was like, man, this really feels like they're trying to like do the second one again. There's like a musical number, where the nuns at this retirement home like sing about, oh, Paddington's coming to Peru. And there's a scene in the second one where there's like a big musical number in like a prison, and it's amazing. It's really good, and there's a lot going on. All this like, and it felt like just a pale imitation of that. So there's stuff like that, and like it wasn't bad by any means. You know, I don't know if I liked it more than the first one. I don't know. I think it's probably my least favorite of the three. But you know, Paddington's so cute. There's still a lot of like I said, there's still a lot of the same stuff. Yeah. It just was a little less kind of in all the good areas. And some of the people, like the mom has been recast by now. I think most everybody's the same, but it feels a little different, you know, different director, some different actors and stuff. And it didn't have any of the, there was just so much going on with the second one in particular that made it so special, but the story was fun, you know, and I guess I was kind of surprised they actually filmed it in, I don't think it was Peru. I think it was Colombia though. So they actually filmed it in South America, which was kind of interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'd recommend the movies as a whole. It's kind of like the movie, it's another trilogy that is like mostly pretty solid with like one really standout. And like, it doesn't completely, it's not complete. It's like a Spider-Man 3, you know, where it's like, it's not as good as the other ones, but there's still stuff to it.
And the second one is the best one.
Yeah. The second one's the best one. Yeah. That's kind of
they've been on my list for a while. I mean, I've like everyone that like I follow on Letterboxd. I think Paddington 2 like is like the average is like 4 to 5. Like I don't think there's anything below that. Like it's very like universally beloved. So like they've been on my radar for a while, but just haven't had time to sit down and watch them.
I think it's 4.2 on there, which is pretty good.
That's like
Did you watch the
Breaking Bad VR?
Did you look at any of that? Did you watch like any of it?
No, I did not. I think you sent it. I think I looked at it like when I was at work, and I never like went back to it. Yeah.
God, I got to see who did it, because I didn't. It's not like somebody that I followed or anything, but there's this guy did a It's called the entirety of Breaking Bad retold as a VR game, and it's like this guy. I guess it was like originally a live stream, and it's done in like it's like a Gmod. It's a VR version of Gmod or whatever. And so the whole thing is like the guy is playing as Walter White, so he's, you know, it's from his perspective. And there's like I think most everybody else is like he got like a bunch of like other people to like voice. Like there's a guy that is like Jesse, and there's a guy that plays Mike, and I'm pretty sure some people play multiple ones. But then like Skylar and Walt Jr., they are like barely in it, and they're literally like wooden like standees. And
I have it up on another screen, and I'm looking at it. And yeah, it's literally just them from like promo pictures.
Yeah. I think Walt Jr. is somebody doing a voice, but Skylar is clearly like it's like a talk to text. She's going like, Skylar White loves Walter White, or like Skylar White divorces Walter White. Hello, ex-husband. Like that's how she talks, whatever. But I thought it was awesome. It's so fucking funny. There's a lot of parts where they'll like mess up, or like the game will glitch out because they did it live. So there's some like maybe some like technical issues or stuff that doesn't work like fully right, and but then they just kind of like roll with it and stuff, and it does it tells the entirety of the show. You get like a lot of the big moments. I'm
like scrubbing through, and they're in Mexico, so it's like yellow.
Yeah. There's a border like in the like drawn, like literally drawn in the ground, and it says like USA Mexico, and it's like literally as they step across it like the yellow tint like covers it. There's like they kind of like have like some references to like Better Call Saul too and stuff, and
okay.
But they like every key location too, they made like fully in, like they did. That's like the crazy. Entire like White House, the like they cut some corners, like instead of like making the laundromat where Gus's lab is, they just have it in underneath Los Pollos Hermanos. So they kind of
okay.
You know, because again, It was live and stuff. So like everything is right next to each other. Like Jesse's house is like across the street from Walter's house.
Of course.
And like, you know, the city itself is like not the size of Albuquerque. It's just like a few blocks, and then Mexico is like just through a little tunnel, basically.
Right.
But it's crazy how much like work and effort they put into like the detail of of all the stuff. There's like, you know, Saul's office or whatever. And yeah, the voice, I think my favorite character is Jesse. The voice actor he got for Jesse is so fucking funny. He's so funny. And then there's also like just a recurring thing where they're like, everybody like is constantly telling each other, like Walt goes to leave to like go do something else. He's like, okay, Jesse, I'll be back tomorrow. I love you. He's like, I love you too, Mr. White. and like Jesse is his son. Like everybody is like directly related to each other. Like Jesse is his son. Hank is his brother.
Oh my God.
Mike is like Gus's brother or something like that. Like, yeah, I don't know why they did that, but yeah, like everybody's like directly related to one another.
Yeah, there was I was like scrolling through the comments of that, and one of the comments was about Gus, and they said, "Your meth is the highest quality that I, Gus Fring, have ever seen. I love you."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a Wayne Radio TV. I meant to say that. That's the channel that made it. And yeah, it's really impressive and really, really funny. That took up like half my day the other day, so I feel like I wanted to talk about it. It was really good.
I'll have to give that a watch.
Yeah. If the first like 10, like watch like the first 10-15 minutes, you know, and I think you'll kind of get if it's for you or whatever.
Yeah. Did we even say up top that we're doing Dud Month? Because we're doing Dud Month, so it's all duds.
Yeah, I guess we didn't. Yeah.
For April Fool's Day, April Fool's Month, I think was our rationale for it.
Yeah, that was kind of where it came from. Oop! Oh no, I'm gonna eat that. Don't you do that? Don't you?
It's just it's Meat Dave. It's just or Pluto Nash.
I do. No, I think I do have Pluto Nash in there. Okay. That's funny. I just put directed by a lot of people because it's probably directed by a lot of people.
So the movie 43.
A movie from 2013 directed by a lot of people. Movie 43.
Oh no! No.
So, I feel like I don't know. I've only seen the only thing that I can like recall from this is Hugh Jackman having like a ball sack on his chin. But I just knowing that it's like a bunch of different like skits or whatever from this time.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if we're going to be facing a lot of like similar comedy. It's 2013. We were still doing racist stuff then, right?
Yeah, I'm getting strong inappropriate comedy vibes.
That was the other thing I was thinking of. Yeah.
Maybe movie 43 killed it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there weren't any like because if this was like 2013, I feel like there weren't any more, or at least like the popularity had waned of those the the vampire who forgot Sarah Marshall, or like those types of movies.
Oh yeah.
Or like parody movies, or I don't know.
The 40-year-old,
I guess
40-year-old virgin who knocked up Sarah Marshall and felt super bad about it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Well, awesome. That's another banger.
Yeah. This is I was like, before we did this, before like I asked if you wanted to do this again, I'm like, I feel like I remember last year being pretty rough to just do. Like, there's some podcasts, some shows that like just do bad movies. Like, I don't know how they fucking do it. But
how do you like the art form after this?
Yeah. You gotta chill, bro. Anyways, yeah, watch it. I feel like this is a movie that can't necessarily be spoiled, really, but if you watch for the next episode, if you don't want to have that happen to you for movie 43, these episodes come out on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, I am a premature objectulator, TJ. And with me as always.
I'm going to quote Floyd the dog. Kill the bitch. And I'm Nick.
How you doing? I had to do it one more time.
There it is.
I had to do it to him.